Hi, I'm Natasha Louise Middleton and I run a new business called Natasha Louise Middleton. So I am a life coach helping and supporting mums who have neurodiverse children. So I just wanted to do a quick video just to sort of verbally share with you a little bit of my journey, who I am, why I do what I do, and how I've come to do what I do as well. So you probably would have seen a couple of days ago, I did a post about my journey. And really I'm just going to share that maybe in a little bit more detail, but on a verbal level for you guys. So journey probably started about 20 odd years ago. My partner, he was my partner at that point, he wasn't my husband, and I were trying to start a family. And sort of over the course of maybe 2 to 3 years, I had actually probably 2 years, I had 4, maybe 5 miscarriages. And it all resulted in, as it does when we've had more than 3, they start investigating, they do the blood tests, and they found on the blood tests of my husband and I that my husband has something called a balanced translocation of chromosomes 1 and 18. So when it got with my chromosomes, too much of one, not enough of another. So most of the time that resulted in the pregnancy just sort of stopping at around 6 weeks. And because it was a chromosomal problem, we were then referred up to, I think it was UCH Hospital up in London, where they were talking to us about how we could do a form of IVF, but they would be able to check the chromosomes and then put the embryos back in me and yada, yada, yada. And at the same time, they also gave us a ratio of 5 to 1 of the chances of us having our own children. So sort of fast forward a little bit more, Pete and I have got married, and Maddie arrived, my oldest daughter, who will now be 18 in December. I then lost another baby in between Maddie, but then I had Louis 19 months later. And then fast forward to sort of 7 years later after that, so 9 years ago now, I had my youngest, Archie. So the neurodiverse or SEN journey began with Louis when he was in primary school. So they started coming to me at the end of school, as they do, can we have a word? I was like, no. He's 4 or 5 years old, no. But yes. And they were obviously sharing with me concerns about his lack of focus in class, his concentration, his behaviour, etc., etc. And at that point, they'd also recently had the school nurse come in who had picked up something with his eyes, but they also wanted me to take him to the hospital for hearing tests as well, just to eliminate that there was nothing sort of auditory or visually going on that was causing Louis's behaviour. Now, I do think at some point I did say, are we looking at ADHD or something else going on here? And they were like, well, we can't diagnose, but so, as I said in my story on the post a couple of days ago, I took him to the hospital. His hearing was absolutely fine, but he did have a slight lazy eye. So he was wearing glasses for a couple of years, actually. I was thinking then, gosh, it was actually a couple of years. And at some point we were discharged from the hospital, just back to the normal opticians. And at some point we had the eye test done and they were like, yeah, he's good, he doesn't need glasses anymore. Awesome, winning. Now our ADHD journey began. So obviously that sorting the glasses and the hearing out didn't change anything with regards to what was going on with him in class. So we started down the neurodiverse route. So we went to the doctors, the schools referred us, this is what the school is saying, da da da. They were like, okay, great, can you fill this form in for how he's showing up at home, see if we can correlate anything, and in the meantime we will get you off to see somebody at paediatrics. So that bit actually went quite fast. We got in to see the paediatric guy called Dr. Sahari, And he very quickly said, yes, there is definitely ADHD going on here, and I think we should start medicating him and blah, blah, blah. And me being me at that point, I'm like, whoa, okay, hang on a minute. I'm not really very happy about medicating him because, for those of you that don't know, a lot of ADHD medication is actually clean, legalized versions of cocaine and speed. So I was like, surely there must be another way. And I actually do know quite a lot of parents that have found giving their children cups of tea. You can get caffeine drops to put underneath the tongue, and so they've come off all medication and are choosing to do it that way. So he was like, okay, let's get you in to see the big people that do the diagnoses, and we will go from there. Well, that took 18 months or 2 years, probably closer to 18 months actually, in fairness, because I put myself on the cancellation list. So there's a little hint for you mamas that are possibly going through this journey. They will come back to you and say it's going to take 18 months to 2 years, possibly now we're post-COVID and they're still on a catch-up, even longer. Ask, they might not volunteer it, ask about a cancellation list and get yourself put on there, and be prepared that they probably will call you the night before, because that's what's happened to me twice now. They phoned up the night before and said, can you come in tomorrow? And if you say no, they'll take you off the cancellation list probably, and you will go back to your original spot of where you were in the queue anyway. You won't go to the back of the line, but you are looking at that longer term of waiting. So we got Louis in. He was officially diagnosed at that point with ADHD, anxiety, and social attachment disorder. So that was him. And then because there was already a sibling in the family that had neurodiversity, when I started to notice that Archie was what we lovingly call happy flapping. I do love the happy flaps. He actually doesn't do them anymore. He does sort of this with his fingers a bit rather than the full-blown happy flaps. His journey was actually a lot quicker. So we started with him when he was a year old. Same procedure, off to the doctors, off to the paediatricians, off to where I lived at that point. There was a place in Chelmsford called Molsham Grange. And by the time he was 4, we had his autism diagnosis and we had his EHCP put in place ready for when he started school. And I will do another video on EHCPs. I will do another video on also, you can hold your children back a year. Hold on fire. Sorry, I live right near Lake and Heath now, so when the aeroplanes go over, it gets very loud. So I will do videos on those two things for you to help you and support you with that. Throughout all of this, I'm working part-time as an accounts assistant. I'm also running my own beauty therapy business where I was doing clients for nails and waxing, massage, etc., spray tanning, etc. And I was also, part of that business was running pamper parties for hen dos and for children. So I had all of that going on as well. Then my friend said to me, will you come up to London with me? I found an event. We were looking into a lot more of a spiritual side of things. And this event sparked the journey that I am on now. So now I have been on a strong self-awareness journey where I've done a lot of my own programmings that we received through our formative years of 0 to 7. And in undoing that and coming back to myself, not what somebody else told me, i.e. children should be seen and not heard, you need to clear your plate, your children shouldn't do this, that and the other, get rid of all of these beliefs that we have been taught, and bringing it back to ourselves. What I massively noticed was the difference in how my neurodiverse children showed up. And because I've been talking for nearly 10 minutes, I will go into that in another video. But to say, my children are now calmer, happier, the home is quieter, more joyful, we're all sleeping. And I have to say that I do feel that the majority of that has been accomplished over the last 5 years that I have been on this self-awareness journey. So that is why I am now bringing this to mums that are feeling stressed, overwhelmed, depleted, and honestly, sometimes we feel like utter failures, to help you shift that so that you are then able to help support your children from a completely new standpoint, so that you get the best for you and your children and not what society says.